Hello, YouTube fans and friends, and welcome once more to Scourge of War Remastered. I am your humble and gracious host, Bank60s. Humble and gracious as ever to have you here. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining once again. We're back in Scourge of War at Waterloo. I want to just spend a little time with the Army du Nord. So for this look, I've decided to utilize the newer toolbar. I've really enjoyed playing with it, but I wanted to just take a peek. This is one of my favorite types of infantry in Napoleonic combat, in Scourge of War. It is the French Légère Infantry. They are not the best light infantry in the game, but light infantry is what you really want to look for. So again, you're looking here at regular quality Légère infantry for the French, and that 120 fighting efficiency in open order. Well, you see their closed order stat. It's lower, and most units' closed order stat is lower. And that's, I think, got more to do with the fact that probably the men didn't like so much fighting all clumped together necessarily like that, because everything's really down to luck then. This Légère infantry also is made up of, and part of the reason they're so good at open order fighting is what Napoleon was great at, again, organizing the fighting animals in his army, was understanding it's to put all the kind of the smaller, more agile anyway, fast, fairly strong, because they could move a musket around without too much trouble. They could load it in a bunch of different weird positions, you know, near a tree, around it, you know, and all kinds of things. Skilled with a musket, right? When you're in a fight and you use them right, you can see how the light infantry plays such an important, crucial role in advancing the infantry action forward and achieving success for an infantry division in particular, especially if it's a firefight. That takes us to, of course, the next gold standard unit that we have to mention, and it's really more of a standby, and that is, of course, the trusty line infantry. Okay, this is over here in Riley's 2nd Corps at Battle of Waterloo. We've got one of our battalions of French line infantry, regular quality, and you can see here what makes them come second on the list is the stat for open order fighting. They're not as good at it. These are everyday dudes, everyday Frenchmen who got conscripted into the ranks, many of them. I think there are plenty of volunteers, actually. Their open order fighting stat as a regular unit is not as good as a regular quality Légère infantry unit. Their close order fighting is pretty much just as good, as is their marksmanship. I do believe that their edged weapons may be a bit better, and you would have varying degrees of experience with these units. And I'm drawing from a general historical knowledge. Anybody can jump in and correct or add or anything like that. Comments. But generally speaking, when you have seasoned soldiers, you've got a bunch of fellas that here have seen combat. They've seen the elephant, right? Meaning pitched battle and how chaotic and deadly that is. They know what that's like. And so they're all standing here probably pretty scared about what's going to happen, you know, but they've all seen it before. These are the seasoned line infantry, and they're all over the field for the French. They are just a tad better in melee. That actually, I don't know. Don't quote me on that one. But here you have a regular line infantry unit, fairly good. When you have regular 6 quality units that are kind of tucked in within your brigades out here, and this one's got plenty of them. infantry. What you're missing in this game that they abstract into each battalion, and they're not really able to show it with the uniforms maybe like they could. I don't know, maybe you could change up the way the sprites look in certain positions within the battalion here on screen. I don't know, but one thing that could be interesting is to... So you see here, these guys, they're dressed almost like a grenadier company, right? So there would be flank companies of grenadiers who, were meant for shock duty, or you'd have a flank company of voltigeurs or light infantry troops who are also part of your line infantry battalion, so that the battalion could be served in those multiple capacities needed during any sort of combat operations or operations out on its own. You don't have that visualized here, but that is all within a line infantry or Leger infantry battalion for that matter. Next is French artillery, baby. These are some pretty good skilled troops. They got well trained. Love the way the sprites look here. Sharply made. The thing that was the most important, of course, was the gun that they were shooting. And in many respects, this was the 6-pound cannon across most of the battlefield, firing a round shot most of the time. Very useful for battering down places like Hougoumont. You can see it's starting to take some damage there with that solid shot. Say that the fact that the ground was muddy here at Waterloo actually is factored in to the combat mechanics of the game. And so artillery at longer distances during this battle, I believe, is of muted effect for the most part, as the iron is not allowed to actually boom, 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 bounce along the ground and impact the troops. It kind of lands on the ground and thuds more so because it was so muddy out here. And then you have the 5.5-pound howitzers, the 5.5-inch howitzers rather, and these fire a little bit different. I think each of these guns will fire a different kind of ordnance. Yeah, shell. Here. See what other varieties of cannon there might be. Yeah, it's mostly... Oh, here we go. It's a 6-inch howitzer right here. And so it'll have just a little bit more of its shell ammo, and probably can fire it just a little bit further. The 6-inch howitzer. And then this is back to a... Oh, and then we've got some of the 12-pound cannons, baby. Yeah. Those 12-pounders. Alright, so it looks like, at least in-game, the ranges on things aren't that different. If you have solid shot, you're able to shoot about 1,200 yards. Shell goes 1,100 no matter what it's loaded in, just about. Or it seems that way. A 12-pound cannon... There we go. Yeah, that's what I thought. A 12-pound cannon can send solid shot 1,600 yards. There you have that. That's interesting. The firearms level is lower, though. For that crew, anyway. Huh. Yeah, you have mostly of the 5.5-inch and 6-pounders. Pretty much everywhere. Between something like this howitzer right down. See, here's the thing. They don't look different, really, in-game. They all pretty much look the same. The artillerymen pretty much do all the same stuff. And it looks like these are from the Guard. Yeah, they are. These are Guard artillerymen here. So they're veteran quality. Very good quality artillerymen. We'll be looking at some of the best quality firearms. It's going to be real high. You've got the range here. They've got their shell that goes 1,100 yards. You know, so that's back out here. Just about, you know, if they could see that far. One little animal to look at that I always love to kind of fart with when I'm taking a look at what to do with the French army here at Waterloo, the various different approaches that you can take to the battle is Lobau's 6th Corps right here. Very sneaky useful. He looks like, you know, barely a division almost out, you know, kind of lined up like this. You know, but he's a very potent little fighting corps here. He's got regular line troops across the board just about in one of his first brigades. He's got more regular line troops. And then you've got this brigade back here with some regular Leger infantry. Whole lot of regulars in the 6th Corps. And so you've got kind of an assault corps built in. It's small and packs a punch for the French back here. I would say when you're looking at Napoleon's cavalry, the first thing that has to go on the list is your Leger. I'm sorry, your cuirassier cavalry. And depending on its quality, these horsemen can push any attack for as far as you want it to go. And these guys will stay alive. They'll stay in the fight for a good long time. These are veteran cuirassiers. You see, they show their skills in both close order and open order fighting with edged weapons, of course, is extremely high. Their firearms ability is high. Their horsemanship is high. You know, these cuirassiers, this cavalry is some of the best just overall soldiery that exists. Battle-tested kind of fighting men with a ton of confidence, all riding big, muscular, dangerous-looking, you know, medium to heavy horses. One of the most feared unit of horsemen in all of Europe for a long, long time. Then in the instance where enemy cavalry shows up, these guys, I mean, especially at this veteran level, are gonna do pretty damn well moving just about any other cavalry off in this game. The only cavalry that can match this is British cavalry, or the stuff that's on the other side of the field. Lancer cavalry. Lancers right here. These are some of my favorite horsemen in the entire game. You can see their stats. Alright? You can see that's their open order fighting. That, I think, is to reflect how good they are in melee against other cavalry when things become kind of a swirling mess. Also in chasing down troops that are on the run. Their horsemanship is a lot higher than your average. Well trained with both the reins of a horse in one hand and the horse writhing around underneath you and managing a killing pole arm at the same time. That's not easy to do. Here, these are the, you know, middle to low tier chasseurs à cheval cavalry. These dudes are great at running after. Their open order fighting skill is pretty darn good. They could fight against a group of like mid-level hussars in a melee and actually maybe come out okay. And they're really great at running after guys that are retreating. The Armée du Nord's most colorful cavalry would be that of the Imperial Guard. The Young Guard cavalry, as it were, and these Lancers here. Let's take a look at them. See, you can tell they're not quite as good on stats add anything, which I think is really interesting. There's a whole bunch of them, though. Their open order's not all that great. Edged weapons, not really great. I don't know exactly what that's about. Their horsemanship's not all that great. But they're a decent unit of cav, and you can see their numbers are incredible. There's just a ton of them. And then you got your Hussars, Young Guard Hussars. These look great over here. I love how these look. These look like a bunch of aristocrats, don't they? These guys, let's take a look at that. Yeah, same. Same. So this leads me to believe what you have here is a division of really nice-looking rich guys who, you know, maybe aren't all that good at fighting. You know, maybe they've done a lot of mop-up duty or something. But these guys are out here at least looking loud and proud. What folks don't quite know about Durland's First Corps here with the French armies, it wasn't that good. It isn't that good in game. You've got a lot of regiments that are this seasoned quality. Yeah, they'll run when things get too tough, for sure. And when they've lost half strength, for sure. Maybe even before then. Pretty much all seasoned troops, except for this Bruet unit over here. They've got some regulars in the rear here. But the rest really just... Oh, here we got some regulars here. That season there. Yeah, a lot of seasoned troops. You know, just barely better than volunteer level troops. And Durland's Corps, I think the thing that it has is numbers. It's huge. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 infantry divisions. 4 infantry divisions. And 1 cavalry division. That's the biggest corps in the entire army. Put a little bit of a human face on the sprites on the screen. We take a look at the French Imperial Guard. Yes. So yeah, these elite troops with the Guard. There's a couple things here. Alright. And I hadn't gone over this a lot with some of the prior troops, and I think it's important that we do. And that is reload time. Okay? As I mentioned, part of close order fighting is rate of fire. It's the amount of lead that you can send. And that is part of what these old guard line infantry units and the grenadiers to particularly excel at. And that is another thing to kind of mention, and I've mentioned in a prior video, is understanding the fighting animals in the army. These truly were this was the dudes who were 5'11", 6 foot, big, brawny type Frenchmen who in everyday society probably would have been, you know, the big guys on the block, so to speak, in their village, in their town, the dudes who might have been the brawlers, the dudes who nobody fucked with, just in general, were the kind of guys that comprised these units. And I mean, if you can just kind of visualize a guy wearing that snappy looking thing, a big fucking brawny athletic looking dude who's probably 6'1", and wearing that bear skin, I forget what the name of that soldier's hat is there, but you'll forgive me, but a whole bunch of those kinds of fighting animals of men all grouped together in this incredible infantry unit. And then, of course, you had with them a whole bunch of incredibly skilled and lucky promoted line infantrymen who had made it through some intense combat in the lower, in the ranks of the line infantry and the leger infantry, such and so forth, who had graduated into the guard of that. And you can see it's reflected in the stats. Their closed order fighting is as good as an open order leger infantry stat. And again, back to the fighting animals in the ranks here. You've got a lot of guys who are incredibly strong, incredibly well suited for utilizing a rifle. Man, they carry that thing around like it's a stick. They can sling it this way and that, and they can reload it on, while they're standing there. And, it's not a problem. And then the other thing is, these guys don't fucking care, baby. Let's go kill some people. These would be the equivalent of what you watch when you're watching some of that freaking let's go get 'em Special Forces USA kind of attitude, you might say. That's what these dudes were, man. They want to go fucking kill some guys. Let's go. Let's go. And so they were just really, really well adept fighting animals as part of this guard, and it shows in the stats with their ability to kind of load and fire faster. They're better at it. Their firearms training is incredible. They're incredible in melee. Their edged weapon skill is out of this world. And what it is at the end of the day is a group of infantry that, if paired with, you name it, kind of cavalry, doesn't matter if it could be the guard or anybody else, is damn near unstoppable. It's just unstoppable for any unit in the game. It's so fun to play with these troops. Old guard. Over here, I've described this before, the young guard. About the young guard over here, okay? And they are, I would say, generally speaking, of similar quality to plenty of line infantry units. I mean, you can see here the reload time is worse in some respects. These guys weren't necessarily the best. They were young guardsmen. I think there were plenty of dudes in this group of troops who might have been men of privilege in society. Oh, here you go. This is a regular quality battalion, and you can see their open order fighting and their firearms training is way higher. This group of Voltigeurs de la Garde. Okay, yeah, this is a lot of guys again who were line infantrymen who graduated to the young guard. Lucky guys, maybe some privileged guys in here, but it's called the young guard for a reason. These guys are a younger breed of soldier in Napoleon's army. Last but not least would be the guard heavy cav. These guys are some serious badasses. Here you see these guard dragoons topped out and damn near everything, surgeon ability, meaning that they can come back, I think, from a battle if you're in a campaign. Just a very, very good quality unit of troops here. I think their only drawback is that their conditioning may not be the best. Calisthenics, yeah. I think that their horses may wear out a little bit faster, so, they go and they blow real quick, but they go and they win you the fight real quick, too. Just a little closer look at Napoleon's Armée du Nord here within this great 19th century combat simulation, Scourge of War Remastered. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this closer look. Please do hit that thumbs up button. It helps out the channel in a big way. Subscribe to Alternate History Gaming and hit that notification bell to find out when I drop the next vid. Until then, I'm Bank60.